This episode of the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast is brought to you by the Podcast Reach System. Are you ready to exponentially reach more profitable customers? Launching and hosting your own show is your proven best solution for networking, client attraction, and establishing your celebrity expert brand. Visit www.podcastreachsystem.com and claim your rightful place as the leading star of your industry so you make a difference for your community, market, and audience. Welcome to the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast. Join us as we celebrate entrepreneurs, business creators, and brilliant minds who reveal what they are doing to make the world a better place by being part of it. Be sure to visit our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now sit back, lean in, tune in, get your notepad and 2 pens ready, and let's get started.
My name is Adam Homey. I am your host, and I am honored by your wise decision to tune in and invest in yourself today. I'm coming to you from my sumptuous apartment here in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, known as the hottest city in America, except for when it snowed earlier. About once every couple years, we actually get snow for like 3 minutes in the valley. That was it. I'm sitting on my purple couch. I'm here, and what we do at the Brilliance Plus Passion Project is share stories of people who are making the world a better place by being part of it and by their contributions to it. And there's somebody we have with us today. You can see him on the screen if you're watching the video version, that you have probably seen before if you've been following me for any length of time. And I have been trying for 2 years to get this guy onto my show, and finally he got a break from dealing with spam callers and was able to give yours truly 15 minutes. His name is Rob Anspach, and he's known as Mr. Sarcasm. And as he likes to so modestly say, he's just a guy who writes books and helps lawyers, doctors, and high-level entrepreneurs with their marketing, which we're about to learn more about. Rob, welcome aboard. You've been on my other podcast. It's so great to have you here.
Oh, it's great to be here.
I love the Rob versus books, and I've been wanting to just have this conversation and have our listeners get a little bit more of an insight into this guy who writes some of the funniest stories. So, in your own words, how does the work you do make the world a better place for your clients, customers, and the world at large?
I like to say it helps some way, but really, it helps allow my clients to stop following others, to create their own rules and be the authority they need to be, and do it on their terms.
Yeah, I think that's very important. When you first started telling the stories about the spam callers, my first comment was, how is he having all these phone calls? I thought he said he never answered his phone.
I didn't used to answer my phone, and then it was just nonstop calling, and I'm like, okay, this is getting ridiculous. And I had to start keeping these spammers on the phone long enough that I could actually get stories out of them. And they entertained me, and I entertained them back. And they usually end the call with the F word, but hey,
yeah.
But now, go ahead.
Now I was
a special guest today. Who is that one?
Yeah.
Who's the cat?
Oh, this is Princess Alessandra Francesca. Yeah. She sometimes she paces in front of the camera. Sometimes she just wants to be held. But I have to hold her like this. If I try and hold her the way you'd normally hold a cat, she fights for some reason. I don't know what her deal is. But if I hold her this very weird way, she purrs and enjoys it. So, hey, whatever she wants. Now, follow-up question here is, you've told me in some of our private conversations that doing the Rob versus books, where you tell all these stories, Rob versus the scammers, Rob versus this, that, and the other, have actually been a great source of awesome clients for you.
Right. Yeah.
What do you attribute that to?
I think it's laughter. More and more, especially since COVID, the world changed. Everybody got serious, especially on social media with social media channels like Facebook and Twitter starting to take stuff down that people post. I just think that more laughter is needed, and the Rob versus books gave people an opportunity to laugh and to start seeing things, and maybe they don't get the scammers, maybe they don't get these calls, but they can relate to some of this stuff, and then they could be that fly on the wall and think, oh wow, I wish I was Rob doing this. And I've gotten more clients from these books than I have from all the other ones, just because I've allowed them to, enjoy that moment in time that they can laugh.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's at the expense of spammers and morons and lousy customer service, but we need
They deserve it.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that these books make a difference in how people live their lives. One person said, "Hey, Rob, these books are the prime example of how you live your life and your business, and you do things on your terms." And that's all I want from people.
Yeah. Yeah. So in your own words, what is it that you actually do, like the products and the services?
Well, I help my clients tell their story, not just to their clients locally, but to the world. Through books and through social media, through podcasts, and it allows them to build that authority and get people to understand who they are and what they do and why should they trust them. For me, sharing the Rob versus books, it was people, hey, Rob, you're very sarcastic. I really like that. But it became not just a way to attract people, but also to reject the people that really don't want sarcasm in their life.
Yeah.
And so it made life easier for me.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, attract and repel is very important. And if you're not repelling some people, you are asking yourself for a world of hurt, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in your experience, what are a few of the most common questions that people in general have when they're asking about what you do as they go through their process of deciding to work with you? Like the FAQs.
Right. Well, three of them. The most common are how fast can you do it?
Yep.
What's it going to cost? And do I have to be involved?
Uh-huh.
And because a lot of the stuff that we do is done for you, and they don't want to be involved in all that process. So give me an hour of your time, and I'll create marketing for you for the whole month. And that's all it's required, if that.
Yeah. Yeah, I found as we developed the podcast reach system, and we've morphed it into launch your podcast fast, that third thing was key. And we found that that's actually, despite everything, the number one inhibitor that stops people from launching and hosting their podcasts is they think they're creating another job for themselves. And it's my mission to show, no, you can actually have a fully fledged podcast set up as an entirely autonomous new media portal. You can have it on real estate you own. And other than having a few conversations with me and signing off on a few things along the development process, you just sit back and wait and record interviews.
Right.
And then if you want, you can have a lifestyle where all you do is record interviews and then send somebody that file along with a brief write-up, all on one page, just answer a few questions. And that's your entire involvement with it. You get to have all the joy of the conversations with your guests and not have to worry about any of the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So level of involvement, we can bring that way down. Now, what are a few questions you wish people would ask?
What my favorite ice cream flavor is.
Okay.
Or, hey, Rob, you want to join me and my family at Disney World? I love Disney World. And how much more money can I give you? I wish they would ask those questions.
I love that question. How much more money can I give you?
Yeah, well, and the whole ice cream thing is, hey, if you're a vanilla and chocolate kind of person, you're basic. It's very simple to please you. If you're like a Rocky Road or a Chunky Monkey, or it's like, okay, there's some complexity there, but I can deal.
Yeah. Right. But being able to answer that question does give you that insight, and it allows you to tailor your approach in such a way that it'll feel authentic to the other person while staying within your own authenticity, because you can be simple and you can also be sophisticated. Depends on the day, the time, and the time of day.
Yeah.
I can do both.
Right.
So this is the part where we get to shift gears a little bit, and we're about halfway through here, and ask a few things just to help our listeners get to see a bit more of Rob. So the first question is, what would people who know you be surprised to learn about you?
Well, the one I think that stands out the most is years ago I took belly dancing lessons with my wife.
What?
Yeah, about the third.
You and I know each other very well. We chat all the time. I never would have guessed ballet lessons for you.
No, belly dancing.
Belly dancing. Holy moly.
The third lesson I was asked to leave.
That part doesn't surprise me because you're probably actually more agile than I am. But the fact that you would even get that far along, you managed to surprise me. What do you hope people say about you when you're not around to hear it?
Well, I don't want them to talk about me when I'm not around. Talk to me when I'm in the room.
Okay.
You know, it helps inflate my ego.
All right. All right.
You know,
I got to praise you for your modesty.
You know, I don't know. I since I'm not in a room, I don't know what they're going to say. And hey, if you're going to tell lies, I'll just say, hey, that's all true.
Yeah.
You know, it just, I always do what I can do. And if people like me, great. They're going to talk about it. If they don't like me, great. Yeah. But you know,
Yeah.
if you tell me how great I am when I'm in the room, that's even better.
That's an interesting answer. You're the first one that's ever said it that way. So if you could go back in time and change one thing you've done, one thing that's happened, one thing that you've experienced, what would it be and why?
You know, I don't like that question. And I'm going to tell you why.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
If I went back in time and told myself how to fix something, just one thing,
Yeah.
you know, the whole butterfly effect, I wouldn't be who I am now. And all the lessons I've learned because of the failures or successes or joys or whatever I experienced back then would never happen.
Yeah.
So as much as I want, you know, as much as marketers want to go back in time and do things differently, you're going to screw up everything that you've done now. It's just, you know, that whole butterfly effect. So to me, that's it's a valid question. And I know that there's a lot of people who like to answer it, but if you really truly could go back in time, you'd screw it all up.
That's an interesting approach. And I got to tell you, if we were treating this show like the Family Feud and they say the number one answer, that would actually be it, is that you wouldn't change a thing. And the butterfly effect actually gets mentioned fairly often. You know, it's like the question of you're given a choice. You could either be taken back to when you're 21 years old, but with the knowledge you have now, or you can be given $20 million. Candidly, I'm going to take the $20 million because really going back and is because it's kind of funny. We think about this when we really logical about the butterfly effect. If I went back to when I was 21 with the knowledge I have now, there's a chance I could actually have $50 million and wouldn't need the 20. But either way, the sequence of events that led up to being given the 20 million would not take place.
Right.
So what happened if I went back in time, I managed to screw it up a different way, even with what I know? Then I might not get the 20 million. So at that point, it becomes down to the bird in the hand. Yeah. And that's completely valid. Now, here's another one. What famous person, alive or dead, would you like to meet, and what question would you have for them if you had the opportunity?
You know, I would pick Clint Eastwood.
Okay.
It would just make his day.
It would.
And you know, I don't know if I'd have questions for him. I think I would just sit there and contemplate life with him. You know, he's
on his lawn.
On his lawn. You know, it's he's just one of those exceptional people in life that you've watched growing up through cowboy movies, through everything he's done, the Dirty Harry movies, and
Yep.
now he's producing, and he's 90 some years old, and he's
Yeah.
still doing it, and he never retired. No,
Right. Yeah. In our curriculum, we share the Clint Eastwood director style when training our folks on how to host their podcast. The idea is you do it in one take and you move on to the next scene. The same way the Clint Eastwood directs his movies. He doesn't do 20 takes. He does one take. Two, if something really goes wrong on the first take, it's do the take, put it in the can, next scene, next scene, next scene, next scene. Few reasons for that. It gets people to focus on the prep work they do before they say action on that scene, which is where the magic really is. Second, it creates a sense of forward inertia. If you're going to be on a movie set, you might be working 14 hours a day. What's going to make you feel better? That in that 14 hours, you did 50 takes of a scene and the director still hates it? Or do you manage to get 13 scenes done and in the can?
Right.
And so he does it partially for the benefit of helping the entire cast and crew have a positive feeling about the project. And then the third thing is he's always got another project lined up right after the one he's on now. He cannot afford a time overrun. He's got 13 days for this project. And then after that, he's got a 3-day weekend, and Monday morning, he's somewhere else. So this is getting done one way or the other.
Yeah.
Now, purists may say, oh, but he's just taking whatever he films and just throws it in the can and puts it in the movie. Okay. How many blockbusters has he created? How many careers has he launched? And how many different ways has he entered our lexicon? And if you don't believe me on the last point, go ahead and make my day. Stay off my lawn.
You're a big fan, aren't you?
I like the man's work. Now, what motivates and inspires you to keep going when you're having a tough time or facing a challenge, as we all do from time to time?
I get that a lot. But I think that over the last 30 years, what's always kept me motivated is just popping on some music by Queen. And, I'll listen to it for a while, and next thing I know, I'm back to writing. I'm back to doing something. I'm out of that funk and jazzed to do something.
Yeah. Well, I got my mix with a lot of Benny Mardones, Frank Stallone, and Elton John stuff on it.
I like Elton John too.
I'm still standing.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I gotta do stream that one 5 or 6 times. I'm ready to go. I'll walk through a brick wall. I mean,
yeah.
Feeling like a true survivor, looking like a true survivor, feeling like a little kid. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Queen's One Vision just gets me, and
yes, I love that song.
Motivates me to just keep going.
Yeah. So finally, and I know you have a gift for our audience, and I'm going to share that on your behalf in just a moment. But in general, what is one thing you would urge our listeners to do as soon as they finish listening to us within the next minute or so?
I'd say, figure out what your personality is and use that as your brand. Because the moment I started doing that with the whole Rob versus books, everything in my business took off.
Yeah. I knew you before that, and I saw the before and after when you started with those stories. I mean, at first I questioned, again, what's this guy doing talking to scammers? I thought he said he never answered his damn phone. In fact, I was chatting with a couple people about that, and we all laughed like, wait a minute. Rob just spent 3 years ranting about how he never answers his phone, and now he's jawing it up with scammers all day. What the hell? Yeah.
For clients, you'll never get me on the phone.
Well, I schedule everything. Even women I date find out pretty quickly that my stuff's scheduled. I kid you not. But some women like that. They like the idea that they don't have to be wondering about things 24/7. And I like women who are busy. I like them when they have their own stuff going on. I don't want hanging around 24/7 because that could familiarity breeds contempt. So if I know I'm not going to see her for 5 days, I know on Friday at 6 o'clock I will. I'm good. Just a little text back and forth every day to say hello is fine. I'll see you Friday. That works for me.
Not even sure what dating is anymore. I've been
Well,
married for 34 years.
I know. You're one of the lucky ones, Rob. Treat her well, and vice versa. Yes. All right. So here's a gift you have for our listeners. Yeah, you can see it on the screen if you're watching us. Otherwise, I'm going to say it out loud. Go to Rob's website at anspachmedia.com. That's spelled ANSPACHMEDIA.com, and then /shop. anspachmedia.com/shop. And that's going to take you to a place where you can get all of Rob's books. You can see all the Rob versus books. One of my favorite is Rob versus the Wackadoos. Then there's Rob versus the Morons, Rob versus Humanity, Rob versus the Entitled, Rob versus the Unicorns, Rob versus the scammers. But there are two that you can get absolutely free, at least for now. One of which is the Social Media Debunked ebook. And another is a book that I love myself. It's Power Guesting, which is the insider secrets of profit from being a great podcasting guest. My business, we take it from the host perspective. Rob has created a great resource from the guest perspective. I encourage you to look that up. So 2 of those are for free. Otherwise, you can see a whole bunch of great resources, but do visit that link. And with that, Rob Anspach, I'm so glad we could finally get you here. And thank you so much. As always, it's been an honor, and believe me, an education.
Thank you. Adios.
Thank you for tuning into the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast, where we celebrate entrepreneurs, business creators, and brilliant minds who are making a difference for their community, market, and audience. Remember to visit our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast.